Hey there, Tarotistas. Welcome to another episode of Ask Athena Thursday. This is Vicky of Eternal Athena Tarot, and once a week I like to take a question from pretty much anyone and draw on the wisdom of the tarot to help highlight the choices that you have and to give you the information that you need so that you can make the best choices possible for you. If you have a question for Athena, please go ahead and send it to victoria@eternalathena.com and I will get right back to you. And with that, let's go ahead and get started with today's episode. Today's question comes to us from Deann from Dayton, Washington. And Deann writes, Dear Athena, will my husband get the boys' basketball coaching job he has been wanting since last year? He recently put the application in and will find out about the job sometime in June. Thanks for any insight on this question. Sports is his passion and he would make an awesome coach. He has the worst luck finding his niche. Thanks a lot. Well, thank you, Deann, for your question, and we're going to head over to the reading table right now and take a look at what the cards have to say. Okay, so here we are at the reading table, and Deann, I am going to use a yes-no reading method for you to give you a definitive sense of what the likely outcome is going to be. And I also want to give you information on the strengths and weaknesses that your husband was showing going into the situation, as well as a card for what he can do in order to influence the situation, if anything, as well as a card for what you can do in order to best support him regardless of the outcome. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start shuffling my cards. And I already went ahead and reversed half the deck, and I did do some shuffling before turning on the camera, but I do like to give them a shuffle right before I draw. And today we're reading with just a regular Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Okay, so let's take a look at what the first card is going to be, and that's going to be the Seven of Pentacles reversed. We have the Six of Pentacles reversed. Got the Lovers. Got the Eight of Swords upright. And then lastly, we have the King of Wands. And I'm going to pull a card for what can your husband do to influence the situation, because I'm thinking that he probably can. Got the Tower reversed. Whoops, hold on. And this one fell to the floor. What can you do in order to support your husband? We got the Seven of Cups upright. So the way that I read yes-no spreads is I reverse half the deck and I will count how many cards come up reversed as opposed to how many cards come up upright. And the number of cards that come up upright indicates to me that you have a pretty good chance of doing whatever it is you want to do, that it's probably a yes answer. And the number of cards that come up upside down, reversed, usually indicate that we're moving in more of the no direction. So in your case, Deann, your husband's case, we got 3 out of 5 cards that come up upright. And the center card is the Lovers. Now, the way I'm going to interpret this card is I believe that right now your husband has a very good chance of getting this job. Right now, it's down to 2 people. And they are going to be comparing your husband against this other candidate, and they're currently making their choice based on that. I see that your husband has a lot of factors in his favor, and those are all represented by the upright cards here. First of all, I want to talk about the King of Wands. Now, this is a card that's very much about someone who is a master of his passions. You mentioned in your email that your husband loves sports. It's what he loves to do, and I think that really shines through when he's being interviewed. It's really shining through when it comes to impressing his prospective employers. He's also a man who knows what he's doing. He has a lot of experience doing this, and I think that he has a very good chance of being considered because of that reason. They see him as someone who is independent, who knows how to make decisions for himself, and I think that they believe your husband will do a very good job. Now, this is interesting because next to the King of Wands, we have the Eight of Swords upright, and I'm just going to pull these 2 cards really quick and put them up next to the camera. The Eight of Swords is very much a card about, here we see the image of a woman with her blindfold, and she's tied up, she's restricted and stagnant, and she's surrounded by these eight swords, which are a symbol of her attitudes, her ways of thinking. So when this card comes up, it's very much about the way you think is, it's hard to break out of that, and sometimes can keep you entrapped or stuck in one place. And the blindfold is a representation of not being able to see. So this is very much a card about not being able to, or it's very difficult to find your way out of a problematic situation. Now, adjacent to the King of Wands, I see this as very much about your husband being, he is who he is, and he has a certain way of doing things that at this point he's probably not going to change, or may not want to change, or doesn't even need to see a reason to change anything about his approach towards his job. I'm not seeing this as necessarily a bad thing, but it may come up that for this reason, he's not a very good fit for this job, because we do see some reverse cards in this spread, and those reverse cards would be the Six of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. And I'm just going to hold these cards upright really quick so I can give an interpretation of what these mean. So first off, I'm thinking one of the considerations working against your husband is the fact that he may be demanding a salary that they cannot afford. There is an issue here regarding give and take, the balance of finances, and what is given out and what comes in. So if there is any conflict, or if there's any room for negotiation discussion, it may be surrounding the salary negotiations. And then we also have the Seven of Pentacles, and this is always about planning. It's always about taking a pause and looking back on your career. And it's always about evaluating your legacy and what you leave behind. So with these two cards reversed, I'm seeing that there's going to be some, oh, I'm sorry, that's my cat Fred. There's going to be some discussion regarding your husband's record and his achievements and what he's done. And I'm not sure if there's anything there that would work against him. But in the reverse position, I'm seeing that that may be a possibility. And then lastly, there is the issue of salary. So your husband's going to want to think about what he is making now, and to know what's being offered to him in this position. It may come up as an issue in the negotiation process and when it comes down to making a final decision. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about the Tower card reversed. Now this card represents something that your husband can do in order to influence the decision so that it's going to work out in his favor. Now I'm going to turn this upright really quick. When this card appears in a reading, it's usually about breaking down foundations, breaking down something that you've built up for years as a legacy. And I'm also going to, this is a fire card, I'm going to compare this to the King of Wands in your reading, because I'm thinking that these two cards are related to one another. Now, this card shows that your husband is a very independent fellow, that he is probably very headstrong and has a clear sense about the direction that he would take any sports team that he's about to lead. And this is about his foundations, and it's about what he's built up and his legacy. So with this reversed, and the fact that this is coming up as his influence card, what he can do in this situation, since we see that I think he does have some room to influence this situation, this is very much about restructuring and restructuring a program. And if he is very headstrong about his own sense of what he wants to do, it may be a conflict with how this school or department he's applying to sees the direction that their program is headed in. So I'm thinking that if there's any discussion, follow-up discussion surrounding this, and your husband has a chance to vouch for himself or to make a statement about who he is and what he represents and how he's going to approach his job, the Tower reverse suggests to me that there's going to have to be a promise, or he's going to have to indicate that he's not going to change up the program, that he's going to keep certain traditions in place, that the structure that is currently there will fundamentally remain the same. So that is what your husband can do in order to maximize or increase the chances of this coming out in his favor. Let me just put this card down here. Okay, and then also, lastly, we have the Seven of Cups, which represents something that you can do in order to support your husband regardless of the outcome. So this is a card about fantasies and dreams. I see this as a card about dreaming big. So regardless of what happens in this situation, it may be that your husband talks with his prospective employers and they can't reach an agreement about how to move forward and what's the best way to take the team forward. So this is a reminder here to remind your husband of the options that he has, that he, maybe even if this doesn't work out for him, that he can still, reach for the stars and dream big, and there's still plenty out there that he can do. Okay, so that is all that I have for this episode. Deann, I hope that was helpful for you. And, please follow up on what the outcome is. I would love to know, and I wish your husband good luck. Once again, if you would like to submit a question to Ask Athena Thursday, please go ahead and email me at victoria@eternalathena.com. And that's all for this week. I will see you guys later. Bye.